Came across a picture of 3 wild horses running. I printed them out and thought this would be a good vinyl project. The printout is a large diagram, and here I'm using Logic Trace 2018, and I'm going to digitize this diagram. I've selected tracing polylines. The trick here when you're tracing out such a complex diagram or a detailed diagram is to keep track of where you are, where you start, and where you finish. It's a pretty straightforward tracing techniques. Sometimes I trace along the line and sometimes I just touch it. And every time I take a break, I do mark it with a red marker so I know where to restart. The internal parts for tracing are pretty easy because they're small. Right now I'm doing the whole perimeter of all 3 horses, and once that's complete, then I'll start doing the internal parts. The red mark shown there is the place where I started to do my tracing, and I'll come around all 3 horses and right back to that spot. The more careful you are on tracing, the less editing at the end. And as I've mentioned in the past, when your printout is large, it's easy to digitize or trace. At this spot here I took a break, and that's why I laid the pencil down so I'll know where to start again. And when I get back to that red pencil mark, I'll stop tracing and the program will close it up. Now we'll start tracing out the internal parts. And I always save my work frequently, so if anything goes wrong I can go back to that file and carry on. I think these 3 horses running will look real cool with a black vinyl and a white substrate. Diagram's coming along and we're getting close to completing it. I'm going to take the completed DXF file, I'm going to load it into Vectric Aspire 10.0, we're going to check the vector quality and see if there's any node editing required. I also like to run the DXF file through the simulator just to see how the file is going to look. A point here, this program does not create a toolpath for the vinyl cutter. The vinyl cutter just requires a DXF file to cut. Now I'm going to load that DXF vinyl file into the vinyl cutter software. Shown here, I'm cutting black vinyl. You'll notice there on the right hand lower corner there's a couple of white cutouts. Those are test cuts before you start your vinyl cut, and that makes sure that when you do your cuts the vinyl will come off perfectly, leaving the backing. It's an amazing process, and it's actually quite fast. Mind you, I've slowed it down to about 60%. Once our vinyl is cut, then we'll have to weed it. This is the process of removing the vinyl that you don't want shown. Here the pre-mask is applied and the backing on the vinyl is removed, and it's now applied to the white substrate.